Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're going to be talking about power animals. You know those animal allies that are said to offer us their unique energy and characteristics?
Right.
And this is according to shamanic traditions. So we've got some really fascinating material from shaman John Rasmussen. And we are going to unpack this whole idea of nature as a source of, not just physical, but psychological and energetic support.
It's a really, really intriguing concept because it asks us to move beyond just, appreciating the beauty of nature.
Right.
And into actually seeing the natural world as a true ally in our personal journeys and our growth.
Like an active participant,
Yeah.
not just something pretty to look at.
Exactly.
It really makes you think about all those times you've felt that sense of peace and clarity, like when you're out hiking in the woods or you're sitting by the ocean.
Totally.
John Rasmussen uses this really great example of finding that sense of calm, among the redwoods. He actually describes nature as like an energetic support system.
Wow.
Which I just love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's kind of where this idea of power animals comes in.
Okay.
In shamanic practice, there's this belief that animals can actually offer us specific energies and insights when we need them most.
Like they're there for us?
Yeah, it's like having this, team of specialized relatives.
I love that.
Each with their own, unique strengths and wisdom to share.
Yeah. So instead of just, being these cute or majestic creatures to admire from afar,
Right.
they're like these allies.
Yeah.
These energetic allies that are there to support and guide us.
That's a whole different way of looking at the animal kingdom.
It is.
But how does this actually work? Do we have to, go on vision quests or something to connect with these power animals?
No. It could be so much simpler than that.
Okay.
John Rasmussen talks about just paying attention to repeated encounters with certain animals, especially if those encounters, feel unusual or significant in some way.
Like they stand out.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Like, let's say you keep seeing hawks everywhere you go.
Okay.
They're circling overhead or they're perched on your fence, or maybe they even show up in your dreams.
So if I suddenly find myself, like surrounded by hawks, I shouldn't just assume it's a coincidence.
Exactly. Shamanism would suggest there's a message there for you.
Oh, wow.
And in the case of hawks, they're known for their keen vision and this ability to soar above the fray. It could be a sign that you need to gain a broader perspective on a situation.
Okay.
Or tap into your own ability to see things clearly.
Like see the bigger picture.
Exactly. And perhaps there's a decision you're grappling with, and the hawk is offering you that energy of discernment and clear-sightedness.
It's almost like the hawk is saying, hey, take a step back, see the bigger picture, and trust your instincts.
Totally.
I love that. What are some other examples of power animals and the energies they might represent?
Well, let's take the cat, for instance.
Okay.
We all know cats can be incredibly decisive creatures.
Oh, yeah.
They know what they want, and they go for it.
They do.
With laser focus. So if you find yourself struggling with indecision, the cat could be offering you that energy of confidence and decisiveness.
So if I'm feeling wishy-washy about something, I should channel my inner feline.
Precisely. And, John Rasmussen even suggests practical ways to do that.
Oh, really?
Like wearing leopard print or surrounding yourself with cat imagery to tap into that decisive energy.
That's really interesting. It's almost like wearing leopard print becomes a way of inviting that cat energy into your life.
Right.
It makes you wonder if people who are naturally drawn to certain animal prints are unconsciously connecting with those power animals.
That's a fascinating thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe there's more to our fashion choices than we realize.
Right. Like we're tapping into something deeper.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating about this whole concept? It's not always about, like seeking out a specific animal's energy when we feel we're lacking something.
Okay.
Sometimes it seems like those power animals actually appear in our lives to shine a light on an area where we might need to grow or shift our perspective a little bit.
So it's like they're showing up as guides, almost like they're nudging us in the right direction.
Exactly, like they're trying to get our attention.
I like that.
And John Rasmussen actually mentions the skunk.
The skunk.
As a great example.
Okay.
Now, most of us don't immediately think of skunks as being, particularly wise or insightful creatures.
Not the first animal that comes to mind.
Right. But in shamanism, they represent the energy of boundaries.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. Skunks have a very clear way of letting you know when you've crossed the line.
It's true. They definitely don't mess around when it comes to personal space.
Not at all.
So if someone keeps encountering skunks, Maybe it's a sign they need to work on setting stronger boundaries in their own life.
Precisely. It's like the universe is giving them a not-so-subtle hint.
Right.
And it's not just about the skunks, like strong defense mechanisms either.
Okay.
Remember how they give those 3 warnings before they let loose?
Yeah.
First, they just kind of let you know they're there.
Hmm.
If you don't heed that warning, they turn their back,
Yeah.
raise their tail as a final warning,
Okay.
and then they take action.
Right.
It's like this perfect metaphor for setting boundaries.
Wow, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, starting with a clear signal and then escalating as needed.
That's a great point. It's amazing how even animals that we might not initially see as, positive or appealing can offer these really profound lessons.
Yeah, really.
What about animals that are typically associated with gentler qualities, like, say, a deer?
Oh, deer are often seen as symbols of gentleness, grace, innocence.
Yeah.
So in shamanism, encountering a deer might be a message to bring more of that gentle energy into your own life, especially if you've been feeling stressed or overwhelmed or perhaps even a bit, harsh with yourself or others.
So if I'm constantly rushing around and feeling on edge, a deer sighting could be a reminder to slow down, be present, and treat myself with more kindness.
Exactly. It's about tuning into that quiet, gentle energy that deer embodies and seeing how you can cultivate more of that in your own life.
So it seems like these power animals can appear in all shapes and sizes, carrying messages that are really tailored to our own individual needs.
That's true.
But how do we know for sure if an animal encounter is actually trying to tell us something,
Right.
or if it's just, a random occurrence?
That's a great question. And John Rasmussen actually recommends a wonderful book called Animal Speak
Okay.
by Ted Andrews. It's this really comprehensive guide to the symbolism and energy associated with different animals,
Oh, cool.
which can be a really helpful starting point.
Yeah.
But beyond that, he emphasizes the importance of paying attention to your own intuition. Like, what feelings arise when you encounter a particular animal?
Okay.
What qualities or characteristics stand out to you?
So it's not just about looking up the meaning in a book, but also about tuning into our own inner wisdom and seeing what resonates with us personally.
Exactly. And most importantly, ask yourself what that animal's presence might be telling you about what you need in your life right now.
It's like they're offering us a piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
Helping us to understand ourselves and our journey a little better.
It's like having a personal guidance counselor from the animal kingdom.
I love that idea. It really is a beautiful way to deepen our connection with nature and to see the interconnectedness between all living things.
It reminds us that we're not as separate as we might think.
Right, we're all part of this web of life.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like nature is speaking to us, in this subtle symbolic language.
Right.
And it's up to us to learn how to listen. It really does change the way you experience the world around you. Suddenly, every animal encounter has this potential to be like a meaningful message.
Exactly. It encourages us to see the world through a different lens, to acknowledge the wisdom and the intelligence that exists in all of nature, not just, in us humans.
Right.
It's a very humbling perspective, I think.
So we've talked about how certain animals can kind of offer their unique energies.
Right.
But John Rasmussen also mentions that we can proactively engage with the power animal's energy if we feel drawn to it.
Yes. And he even suggests, specific techniques for doing that.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like visualizing the animal,
Yeah.
meditating on its qualities,
Okay.
or even incorporating its imagery into our lives. So, for example, let's say you're really drawn to the hummingbird's energy,
Okay.
that joy and lightness. You might wear hummingbird jewelry or surround yourself with hummingbird art.
It's like inviting that specific energy to be present in your life.
Exactly.
Not just waiting for it to show up, but actively seeking it out.
Exactly. It's about consciously cultivating a relationship
Yeah.
with that power animal and allowing its energy to support you.
So we started by talking about how nature can offer us this energetic support.
Right.
And now we're exploring how we can tap into the specific energies of, individual animals.
And it all comes back to that deep connection between humans and nature.
Yeah.
We are part of the web of life.
Not separate from it.
Exactly.
So to wrap things up, what's the key takeaway you'd like our listeners to walk away with today?
I would say the key takeaway is that we are surrounded by a world of allies, not just in the human realm, but in the animal kingdom as well.
Right.
Each animal carries its own unique energy and wisdom.
Yeah.
And by paying attention and learning to listen, we can tap into that wisdom and allow it to support us on our journey.
So the next time you see, a cat strutting by or a hawk soaring overhead or even a skunk doing its thing,
Yeah.
don't just dismiss it as a random encounter.
Exactly.
Take a moment to pause and ask yourself, what might this animal be trying to tell me?
And for our listeners, we'd love for you to consider this.
Yeah.
What animals have you been noticing lately? And what might their presence be telling you?
That's a great question.
Keep that question in mind as you go about your day.
Yeah.
You might be surprised by the insights that emerge.
And if you're interested in learning more about the symbolism and the energy of different animals, John Rasmussen highly recommends Animal Speak by Ted Andrews.
It's a fantastic resource.
Yeah, we've only scratched the surface today.
Indeed, there's a whole universe of wisdom waiting to be discovered.
Well, until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those eyes open to the wonders of the natural world.
Absolutely.